Pretty excited, really. It's always wonderful when you start a new trip, a new project, and most of all when you start a project in a club like this. It's a coach objective, career objective to enter big clubs. I'm entering it's extremely big club, and big clubs, they are made of big people, and I feel that from the first day that I'm among big people, and that it brings excitement to myself, the opportunity to work with very good players, to lead a group of people like we have here, the staff. So it's a big challenge, but at the same time that I feel obviously the challenge ahead of me, I also feel a lot of energy to do it, to overcome every moment that we live, the work, the job itself. So very good emotions in the moment, very, very good emotions. I was in a big Portuguese club for many years, FC Porto. It was there that I started my career as a young coach, full of ambitions. But that club is a little bit, I think that we have traces in common between Mamelodi Sundowns and Porto. Every day is a fight to be the best. So inside myself there was something that grew, that was the energy to win a lot, to win every day, not to be comfortable where you are, to move forward, to be highly demanding on yourself, on the others, but at the same time to grow something as a football project that could make you win. So I'm a coach that likes to impose himself as much as possible in the games, that likes to take initiative. But I'm also a coach that understands how football is nowadays and how a team needs to be to win in the highest level. Let's say that is the level where we need to be, where we be for sure the decisions moment, where you have to face the most important teams and most strong teams. In this case in Africa, but also obviously because World Cup of Clubs is ahead, also in the World Cup. So it means that we need to have a team that is quite capable to give good answers on the 4 moments of the game. Sometimes people say you should be very offensive. Yes, we should have a very good offensive game that understands how to overcome different style of opponents, but also we need to have a very good, strong defensive game, because opponents of good value will also make you defend, and we need to control also the games when we don't have the ball. So I like a strong team that is complete on the moments of organization, that has a mark. I like my teams to be clear that they have a mark, they leave a mark. I like a lot that mark of the way you play. That has not to do with the style, but has to do with the behaviors. Behaviors that the team express in a regular way in the pitch, so that it can be identified. And the Mamelodi Sundowns has a philosophy based. So I believe that the connection that we felt also came from that, because we have traces that are common, and that approaches us and makes me very comfortable to enter this project. Then we have the transition moments, the moments the team wins and loses the ball, that are key moments nowadays in the game, that we also need to give good answers every time. I believe that we have players for this also, to take advantage of these moments. And we need to have also a team that is very capable on the set pieces. So I believe the teams that win are the teams that are more complete on all these moments. We cannot have a team winning just because she's capable to have a good offensive game, because in the right moment they will suffer the goals. Maybe even if you score, they will suffer. And the decision making is of these complete teams. We have to grow a very complete Mamelodi Sundowns football team. After the success that we had last year in Esperance, Tunis, by reaching the final of Champions League and by winning the local championship, we opened a lot the market in Africa and also in the Middle East. Also, I'm a coach that already had worked a lot in Europe, so also the European market. But I also felt that I needed a break, so I didn't open too much my conversations with clubs, because I really needed a little energy for my family. Because when you work without your family, because my family doesn't usually travel with me, So when I have a break, I always like to give time to my family. It's a time to compensate them. So I decided myself not to really rush on a decision to take a club. But then appeared the Sundowns, and I was not bluffing when I said today to the staff that one day when I played against them, I had the thoughts of being on the other side. Because I come from a big club. 𝗘𝗫𝗖𝗟𝗦𝗓 is also a big club with big fans. But also I wanted to be in the other part of Africa, where I could grow myself as a man by absorbing the culture. South Africa is a country that really excites me also to know. I'm a coach that is open-hearted to absorb the culture, not to love the difference, to absorb the difference and grow as a man. And the sports project of Sundowns is so exciting that obviously I immediately opened my heart, and it was so easy to feel the excitement to come here, and from that it was very easy. Some changes we did in terms of technical stuff. Basically what you tried is to get comfort for the new structure. It was clear from my part that I wanted to stay with people already in the club that could and bring me the knowledge of the reality. It's obviously very interesting to overcome difficulties and have on your side people that can highlight you the different situations. So 𝗘𝗫𝗖𝗟𝗪𝗑 is a wonderful person for the task. He has a lot of experience in the club and also in the country. Obviously, knowing the football, the persons, the style, each opponent, each stadium, the details that sometimes make such a difference in the approach. And he's a wonderful man. He had worked already with a Portuguese coach, Carlos Queiroz. There's one reference as a Portuguese coach also. So I immediately felt quite excitement to have him with me. And then we had also to obviously stay with Kennedy, because we needed a young, energized goalkeeper coach. And we felt the profile of him for the future is a good bet for the club. So I was open for that himself for that project. Regarding my Portuguese assistants, we brought 3%. I brought 3% with me. The club was completely clear on understanding the need to bring some people that can help me to immediately put on going the training sessions, the way we want to analyze the opponents, the way we want to relate with fitness and conditioning, the way we want to relate with medical department. So some people that can have my eyes and my thoughts also. Not because we don't believe the others can reach that point, because I'm sure yes, but we need to make it quick. And the people that I trust a lot as human beings also, it's always a worry of me to bring on my side good people, because good people bring good emotions, and good emotions together with the right knowledge bring good things for the players, for the team. So I brought Fabio. Fabio is my head assistant. He'll be obviously together with me on the bench. He's responsible for a lot of tasks. Usually myself, I take responsibility when we split groups more on the defensive work and him more on the offensive work. He's also responsible for everything that has to do with set pieces. He's a friend. My assistants are my friends. And for sure the other ones will become very quickly. After Pedro is also a multitask, so he's also a coach. He had a lot of years experience on the Academy of Porto, and he was mature enough to challenge him for a next step. So he joined me in 𝗘𝗫𝗖𝗟𝗪𝗑, and now he's coming for this project also. He also has a lot of common points with me regarding the way I see the training process and the games. And we have João, who is a specialist on analysis. He's quite a brain on understanding and bringing me highlights on the opponents, on our games, helping me also to develop myself, because he studies a lot football in general, so regarding the tendencies of the game in the world itself. And he will relate with our analysis department. And also we will absorb the two fitness coaches that are already in the club. Matthias and 𝗘𝗫𝗖𝗟 will absorb them. I'll be pleased to work with them because I know they are very qualified, and qualification is what we need. It's people with qualification. I don't really relate with age, relate with color. Most of all, I relate with not nationalities, but with capacity as a human being and as technically. And I think we made it. We have a very strong group that I will myself make the best to take them to the next level together. It was quite a challenge. To study the team. Obviously, that the starting point was not zero. We had not a lot of knowledge from last year, so we studied the club last year a lot. We studied the team last year a lot. Obviously, the identity, the way the team was playing was different. So it was quite interesting also to understand the differences between where it was, where it is. And then study the players themselves. So I believe that knowing the players individually was very important. Understanding that the team continues to be capable to control the games by the possession, but not having the possession, not to just keep the ball, but to aggress the opponent. That's how I think the ball possession should be used, but having the capacity to play it from the back, using a goalkeeper that is excellent on that, and the players that don't hide of having the ball. So I was quite excited about that because it's something I really like. It was quite interesting to understand also the capacity of the team in the last third to impose the game to the opponents. It was quite interesting for myself also to study the structure, because I didn't also only study the team, I also studied the structure of the club. And probably one of the most interesting things was to study the history and the work of the family 𝗘𝗫𝗖𝗟 in the club, the philosophy of the chairman and of the president, and basically how the club developed from that point until now. It's quite different aspects, but all of them very interesting on the work I had to do. I really do believe is a key point to have a healthy locker room. And it means that we have to relate not with the players, but with men. Besides the player, there's a man. When I speak with a player, I cannot forget he's a man. So I do need to motivate men so that they can be better players. I also like to show my man side of the coach, because I believe that the players will believe me as a coach if I can make them better and the team better. I can lead them to win. But also I believe the players will follow the coach if they believe he's a good man. And I'm a good man. I'm a man of people, I'm a man of values, I'm a man of family. And this is something that I want my players to believe on, family values. So health on a locker room has also to do with values. Responsibility, hard work, integrity, excellence, companionship are values that should and we preserve between the parts, respect. And this sense of these values, together, as I told you, with a good proposal, football proposal, should guide us to our objectives. Obviously, along the parcours, the way, there are key moments of leadership, and we have to take them in hand. That's why I usually like, in a regular basis, to have leadership moments and speak most of them about life itself. In the morning of the games, for example, I always like to speak a little bit about the players, and I try to speak about different things that relate with football, but probably have nothing to do with football. But they have to do with men that play football, that have a task to do, that need to connect between themselves, that need to go to their limit. And you need to conquer the man. So I believe that's also a way we can do the things in the right way. Another thing important, just to complete the answer, is speak the truth with the players. That's something I learned from the players. Be clear, be objective, tell them the truth. Because when you speak the truth, even if you don't like it, it's more easy to accept. It's also a trace of my leadership. Indeed, society is like this nowadays. How many of the ones that can judge the other ones really look at themselves and can say, I was the best one in all my context of performance? How many can say I'm the best where I work? Because sometimes being second or being third is the best you can do in the conditions you have. And in many contexts where I worked, my job could not handle with trophies. It was impossible because the place where we were competing, you had ahead of you much more stronger sides. But you had to try to reach your objectives. And as was said in the press conference, there were contexts where I failed also. It's natural when you have a career, when you are like my age, I'm 52, you have also contexts of failure. The question is how you are ready to get from there to the next point. And also, sometimes we are a product of the context where you are. But I always look behind and I see a lot of wonderful things on my way. I made wonderful things. Sometimes reaching a final and you don't win it. Obviously, finals are to be won. But all the way you did to arrive there is already something extraordinary. I never forget Braga. I was assistant coach in Braga for 2 years. In that season, we won 0. But nowadays, we are remembered as the most 2 beautiful years of the club. And the club after that won trophies in Portugal. Cup of Portugal, League Cup, but those 2 seasons were remembered because for the first time, Braga, in the last game of the championship, was playing to win the championship. But they won nothing. But never in history it happened again. So who sees the stats don't see that. But it's written there. That's why usually, together with my CV, I send always a biography where there's my history and the facts that also happen besides winning trophies. No one believes, also in that season, in that 2 seasons, we were on the final of Europa League. But who won? FC Porto. Who stayed for the history? FC Porto. But to arrive there, we made wonderful steps. We won Celtic Glasgow. We won Sevilla. We entered group stage of Champions League. During the Champions League, we made 9 points on group stage. We won Arsenal, London. We won 2 times Partizan Belgrade. Then we moved to Europa League. We won Dynamo Kiev. We won Liverpool. We won Lech Poznan from Poland. We won Benfica from Portugal on the semi-final. But we lost in the final. We didn't got the trophy. But winning all these teams with Braga, it's wow. So trophies don't speak by themselves. What speaks is your history. Probably the most beautiful thing I made on my life was the final of Youth League as technical coordinator of the Academy of Shakhtar Donetsk in 2014-15, when the war started in Ukraine. That's the medal I have. It's a second place, but that medal is gold. Because when I look at that medal, it's history. Because in the most, probably, obviously, last 2 years, they became more difficult. But in 2014, I was the last foreigner to leave the city of Donetsk under bombing. On that season, we moved the academy to Poltava, another city. We had to escape from the front of the war. These boys, they went on the final of Youth League. We lost with Chelsea. But the way there, some days, players were coming on my room, knocking and saying, my house was bombed. Can I go to see my papa and mama because I have people from my family that died? On that year, we went on the final of Youth League. Never again it happened in the history of the club. And Shakhtar Donetsk is a huge club. So should we consider that a victory or a loss? So that's why sometimes, indeed, we are judged by trophies, But sometimes you are not there to win. Trophies are not the objective. There are other objectives. I never forget the words of my director, my CEO in Shakhtar Donetsk when I arrived. We were discussing contract, and I asked for a bonuses for winning the championship. And he told me, Miguel, no, you are not here to win championships. I will give you a bonus for each player you put on the first team. And I made 4. So I got 4 championships because those were my objectives. During my period there, 4 players entered directly on first team and many to follow after. So the context where you are decides the objectives, and the objectives are attained in the dimension of the club where you are. Obviously, when I entered 𝗘𝗫𝗖𝗟𝗍𝗪, I knew that was a club that could win. I knew that I had a big task ahead of me by regaining the championship of Tunisia. And I did it because it was concrete and possible. We had the means to do it. So if I would not get it, I would fail. But there was a context where not winning the championship would be a failure, not the other ones where I was before. Oh, supporters. Supporters is love. We need love. We need love. That's why I also was so keen on coming to the southern part of Africa countries, because the way you live football is so different from the northern. Football for you is a party, is a moment of joy, a moment of pleasure. And what I would like to see, and I hope my work leads them to that, to a lot of emotions is to see them cheering on the stands. To hear the drums, as the chairman said today, to hear the smiles, to see the smiles. That's what I really got impressed when I played here. So Mamelodi Sundowns fans should, and I want to ask them, please, to be with us. Support us. We need that energy. We want that joy. We want to feel them every time. We'll make our best to give the best answers to the questions that they put, that is winning. We'll win. We'll win. I'm pretty sure, but we need them to help us on that because they are important. They should be, as is a cliché, the 12th player, but not on the stands. We need to feel them with us, and we want to be among them. That's what I want from them. That's what I will give them, because I like to relate with people. I like to be with the people. I have no problems, and I really like people to approach me. So feel free for that, because we are just representing your hearts and your soul. So let's make it together. That's the objective also.